Okay, today we're going to be assembling the body, arms, chest display, and I guess I didn't have it in the picture, but the battery door as well. Battery door is going to assemble the same as the ones on the other POGOTs. Basically, there's this main piece that you support there, and it prints flat that way. This piece that slides is a separate piece, and the knob is a separate piece, and you just glue the knob onto the sliding piece, and that's your battery door. Okay, what do I want to put in first? Let's do the arms first and get that out of the way. So of course there's the left and the right arm. They print flat like this. You do need supports in this inner hole area there. And then there's going to be this piece on the inside. Oh, got to take this spacer off. You need that spacer on the outside. So I'm just poking this through the shoulder hole there, like so. And that needs to be cleared out. That's turning really hard. So, you know, when things print, I guess we should talk about that. When I printed the body, I printed it upside down, shoulder side down like this. And I manually put in supports to get a nice clean there, supports there, supports right there, support there, there, and then on the inside, supports along here. Okay? And when these things print, usually the tops and the bottoms of these holes won't be perfectly round. So you may need to go around them, and I'm going to try it from the outside. Okay, that feels loose. That one still feels snug. And I can see it's not quite round on the top side here. Okay, that feels good. So now I'm going to put that on from the inside, like so. Then on the outside you put on the spacer. And because this is the front, we need the left arm for this side, and I'm using a 632 screw. It's only about 1/4 inch long. The length isn't really too important here. It could be 3/8 and still not be a problem. Then how tight you set that screw is going to set how much slip you can get between that inside linkage part and the arm position. So you want to get that to where you can move it without breaking anything. And let's get the one on the other side. These print flat, no supports required. The arm linkage part. Put the spacer part on. Put the arm on. Grab my screw. And I think we'll call that good for now. Okay, so now on the front, I've got a chest display part that's going to interface with this gear drive that we've shown on the earlier videos. And it's comprised of a few parts. One, there's a main gear, which has a nipple part. It prints flat like this, no supports required. And again, I'm going to be using a 632 screw, only this time it's a little bit longer. This one's 3/8 of an inch long. And it's going to screw from the inside into this hole here. What I like to do is just take the screw and screw it down tight and then back it off till I know that can spin free. Now we've got 2 of these little gears, and they print flat like this, nubbin, no supports required. And again, if the holes are tight, clean them out with the X-Acto blade, but they feel loose. I think I've already cleaned them out, is probably why they feel loose. So I pop that one into its hole, and I'm going to pop this one in like that. So they're both there. I'm going to hold those with my fingers so they won't fall out. And these are the real parts. Now, in real life, I'm not going to glue these on now, but if I was going to glue them, I'd put a little dab of glue on the end of these shafts and then shove these on. But I want to paint these, I want to paint all these parts later. So I'm not going to glue those for now. I'm just going to push them on and hope they don't fall off too much while we're talking here. So basically what we've made is like a tape reel to reel system. When this can turn, the reels in the front will turn. So basically when this body sits down on top of here, the center gear is going to interface with this drive gear, which should slowly turn these reels. But I wanted a little bit more detail on the front, so I printed this part separately. And because I think I want this part the same color as the body, I probably would just go ahead and glue that on at this point. There's a hole right there to provide for any bit of the screw that comes sticking through. And the idea is I'll probably glue that on like that. These buttons could be painted a different color, but I kind of like the idea of this part being the same color as the body. So that's the plan there. Now, as far as how this all fits on there, the only thing I got to keep out of the way is a switch here while I'm sliding this down. And when we slide them in, we got those arm hook pieces that have to line up. And I believe they did. So those go all the way down like that. Then there's two provisions for some screws to hold the body on so things aren't continually falling apart while you're working on them. I didn't get that screwdriver out. It takes a smaller one in my case. Again, these are like some number 2 self-tapping screws. But you can find anything you want and drill holes out. You just need a screw in there, and you don't want it too long because if it goes in too far, it could end up binding in with the leg walking stuff. So there, now that shouldn't fall apart. Let's try our battery door on here. Very good, we got the battery door. The switch would be mounted there. As you can see, I've got the 2 screws already sitting on there. There's no point for me to actually take the time to shove this in there and mount that right now. I guess I just have to take this all apart again in order to paint it. But let's just make sure things are operating. Remember, this cool piece will be on there. Well, in fact, if you're not in a hurry, why don't I just see if this end of this nozzle, whoo, almost tipped you over. End of this nozzle, if it isn't too dried up. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of the number 16 weld on to come out. It's trying to see if I got it somewhat square. Okay. It shouldn't take too long to set up. If it falls off, I'll just glue it better later. Alright, so let's test what we've done so far here. Alright, we got walking, we got legs moving, and we should have these reels slowly turning. I kind of thought about maybe 3D printing a little fake vertical piece that would look like the tape actually going from reel to reel, but I didn't. That'd be something a person could certainly add later if they wanted to. Alright, in the next build we're going to start talking about what goes on in the head area. In fact, I didn't check to make sure that our things were still lifting and lowering. Okay, it looks like they're up right now. Yep, there they dropped. Alright, So everything is good there. See you in the next video.